This is Yvonne Strahovski, and you're listening to Chuck vs. Podcast.
Hi, my name is Graham Jones, but you can call me Gray. This is my show. It's about Chuck. It's filled with interviews, the latest news, crazy co-hosts, and spoilers that'll make your day. Oh, wait, I need to go back. I host these TV nights. They used to be pretty boring, but everything changed when I found NBC's new show, Chuck. Pretty soon, my TV night got pretty crowded. Guys I didn't even know were showing up the door. Big, important guys. Really scary, nasty, get killed for hosting them guys. Next thing I know, these super episodes are downloaded into my brain, which means every moment of my life, I'm thinking about Chuck. ChuckTV.net sent their top people to protect me. That's Mel and Liz. They're pretty zany. They co-host with me now as a cover. So now I must welcome you to Chuck vs. the Podcast, the first and only podcast for NBC's Chuck. This is Gray.
This is Mel.
And this is Liz.
And we want to welcome you to Chuck vs. the Podcast, episode 7, On the Lot, for Friday, July 11th, 2008. How's everybody doing?
Pretty good. Getting a little warm down here in Kansas.
Yep, it's getting warm here, too. I'm just glad summer's here.
Yeah.
It took a long time getting here, but it's here. How you doing, Gray? What's new?
I'm hot. My office is always very hot in the summer because I have to turn off the air conditioning and the fan to record the podcast. But hey, it's for a worthy cause.
That's right.
We thought that there would be a little more news this week, but it turned out there wasn't. Sorry that this was actually going to be aired on Friday, but because I had to work late nights this week, it'll be sometime on the weekend, Saturday, possibly Sunday. Because of my busy week, I'm afraid we're going to have to do the listener emails next time. We will have another episode, hopefully by the end of the month, and it's going to be about Comic-Con. We have a great episode today. Of course, it's called On the Lot, which refers to a really exciting interview that Mel had with Emily. Mel, what can you tell us about that?
Well, Emily has one of the coolest jobs I've ever heard of. She's a tour guide at Warner Brothers, which means all day long she gets to drive around the lot and tell people about what goes on in a studio, and she gets to see famous people all the time, and she's going to tell us about some of her encounters with the cast and crew of Chuck.
And we're going to go right to that interview now.
This is Mel with Chuck vs. the Podcast, and today's guest is someone who has a job we think is going to make you all jealous. No, she doesn't work on the show, but pretty close. Meet Emily, a tour guide on the Warner Brothers lot where Chuck films. Hi, Emily.
Hi, Mel. How's it going?
Going pretty good. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Cool. So you work on the Warner Brothers lot.
I do.
Tell us more about what your job is. What does a normal day entail for someone who's a tour guide at Warner Brothers?
Tour guide. It's basically the best job I could ask for right now. I do whatever I want. I mean, we take a golf cart out, and I take people out, usually about anywhere from 10 to 12 people, and we drive around on the lot in my golf cart, and they give me a microphone, and I get to show people around, and it's really cool because nothing's ever the same. So and if you're a fan of ER, I make an effort to show you where ER films, or if you're crazy about Gilmore Girls, there's a chance you can go to Stars Hollow, and it's really a lot of fun because it's personal. So I get to really just hang out with people and just show them that I work at the coolest place in the world.
That does sound fun. So you're on the lot, and that means that you get to see all the different sets for shows that Warner Brothers produces, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Do you just do the TV, or is it TV and movies?
About 80% of what we do is TV. So, like right now we have 8 dramas and 4 comedies filming. So mostly TV right now.
Wow, that would pretty much fill up the lot, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we have room for some movies. The new Indiana Jones movie filmed here, and we get our chance to do some big stuff too.
Very cool. That does sound like an awesome job. Well, since you are on the lot with a ton of TV shows, you tend to run into some famous folks, I hear.
I do. It's not a zoo, so they're not all sitting in cages waiting for us to drive by or anything.
Darn.
But, I know, I wish, but no, I see people all the time. Because I tell my guests, I'm like, hey, they're here, they're working, and especially the TV shows. We're kind of like their home base, so you see them all the time. Got to meet John Stamos, which almost peed my pants there because it was Uncle Jesse, you know.
And, of course, he's on ER now, right?
He's on ER, and so you see a lot of, you know, bloodied people walking around, you know, they're in line behind you at the cafeteria. And it's really a lot of fun, you know, because I get to see a lot of the new shows kind of before they start even airing. So, you know, I got to see Pushing Daisies filming on the lot, and Chuck, and, you know, got to go to taping in The Big Bang Theory. So it's a lot of fun.
Cool. So you kind of are in the know before the rest of America gets to actually see anything.
I'm a little nosy. I'm definitely a big fan of talking to people, and hey, if I see a door that's open, it's like, let's go inside.
See what's going on. Yeah. So you were talking about there's ER and Big Bang Theory, Gilmore Girls, which Liz and I are huge fans of Gilmore Girls. We cried when it was over. And then Pushing Daisies, that's another one that's really hot.
Yes, that one's a lot of fun.
And, of course, Chuck.
Chuck. Probably my favorite cast to see on the lot right now, but don't tell anyone else I said that.
Okay. Just between us.
There.
So do you get to see the folks from Chuck very often?
Yeah. You know, I mean, they're not on the lot every day, but they're probably there at least 3 or 4 days a week. And, yeah, you see them, and they're really good about, you know, talking to tours and stuff. If they're outside just doing whatever. Yeah, so it's really fun to see them, and they're smart too. They know that they're like a new show, so like it's not uncommon to have like Zach or Josh like hanging out and talking to tours, and because even if no one's seen the show, like they're gonna watch it now, you know, they just talk to the stars of the show. So
good point. Yeah. So I take it you're a big Chuck fan.
Oh, I love the show. I think, you know, it's really kind of like my secret fantasy, actually, the whole show.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I've always, in your head, you're like, I could be a spy, you know.
Yeah.
And then I watch a show like Alias, I'm like, yeah, I'd be like her. But then when Chuck came out, I was like, oh, that's actually what I'd really be like. You know, just kind of like a bumbling little spy. And there's an episode when Chuck like blows his cover because he sees something like someone threatens Sarah, and he's like, oh crap. And I was like, that's so what I would do. Like, you just blow your cover like that. So it's really fun to watch.
Well, who do you see the most often from that show?
Zach is hard to miss on the lot. He's definitely a big personality, and I see him all the time. It's really kind of crazy. I think he's stalking me, actually.
Oh, well, Zach, if you're listening, Emily wants you to stop stalking her.
Stop. No.
Emily wants you to keep stalking her.
Yes, it's fun. I see him a lot, and yeah, it's really a lot of fun.
Now, I heard that you have something called Chuck Fest at your house. What is that?
Yeah, it's actually, I don't host it, but a bunch of us other tour guides at work, we got this crazy idea where, because Chuck started filming on the lot, you know, like a month or two before it even aired. So we knew what was going on. And so when the pilot episode, you know, aired, we're like, oh, we got to watch it. So we started this thing, like, we call it Chuck Fest. Right? And it's just a couple of us. Usually, we've gotten up to like 15, 20 people.
Wow.
Yeah, and we all hang out and we watch Chuck, and then we in the commercial breaks, we like, I remember when they saw that, or when they filmed that, and it's really fun. It's every week we just watch Chuck Fest.
Oh, that's cool. It would certainly take on a kind of a whole new relevance if you were actually there while they were filming things.
Yeah, it's really fun. And can I tell you a story?
Yeah.
About Chuck Fest? All right. So one time, I forget what episode we were watching. There were only a few of us there that week. And we're watching, and the guy who's hosting the show, or hosting Chuck Fest, he gets a phone call. And it was a commercial, so he answered the phone, and he, wandered off, and whatever. Where the rest of us are just talking. And he comes back into the room. He's like, "Hey guys," and he goes, "Hold on a sec." And he puts whoever's on the phone on speakerphone, and he's like, "Say hi." And Zachary Levi is on the phone.
Holy cow!
He's like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" And we're like, we were speechless. We're like, because we just finished watching, the episode, and we're like, "What?" We're like, "What?" And he's like, "Hey, I just want to say hey, thanks for, watching the show and talking about it." And we were just like, oh my gosh, like, you don't watch, Desperate Housewives and Eva Longoria calls you in the middle of the
kidding.
show. I mean, it was so weird. And he's just like, "Thanks so much for hyping the show." And we're like, yeah, of course. And so it was surreal. It was crazy. I mean, because we see him, but it's so different to have him call you when you're watching his show.
That would be so surreal to have Chuck call you while you're watching him on TV.
Yeah. And it's just like, hey, Chuck called while we're watching Chuck. Like,
How did he even know to call you guys?
when we started the Chuck Fest thing, we made up a flyer because we're like, hey, everybody come. And someone who used to be a tour guide is now working on the show.
Oh.
And that ex-tour guide was in the office and grabbed a flyer and I guess gave it to the production and